Welcome to this video explaining ActionIt's PDP module. Hi, I'm Kyle, and I'll be taking you through this presentation today. The agenda for today's video is as follows. I will be explaining the following topics to you during this video. I will explain what is a PDP, why are PDPs used, what action must be taken to build a PDP, what information must be included in a PDP, an overview of the PDP process, an explanation of the quarterly assessments and the consequences thereof, an explanation of the possible learning opportunities that can be provided, how to use the Action Assist PDP module, the success factors of a meaningful PDP, an explanation of the benefits of using PDPs, and we will end off by providing you with our contact details should you have any questions. Let me start off by explaining what is a PDP. A PDP is a formal written document which is used to formalize a natural employee development and learning process. Before a PDP can be built, it is important to first of all identify the development needs of the employee for which the PDP is being built. Once the development needs have been identified, the actions or interventions that are required to ensure that the learning or development have to be agreed upon and included in the PDP. Once the PDP has been built, it needs to be actioned, and processes should be followed that allow for the monitoring and updating of the PDP on an ongoing basis. Finally, the processes implemented should also allow for the reporting of the employee's progress in achieving their development and performance objectives. But you ask the question, why do we use PDPs? PDPs are used to identify the learning, development, and training needs of the employees to enable them to achieve the requirements of the specific jobs and long-term career aspirations. Action plan the steps that need to be taken to correct poor performance. Assist employees in creating a formal career path to reach their career aspirations. PDPs are useful tools to facilitate coaching and development initiatives. With the correct use of PDPs, employees will be more skilled and productive, which will result in an organization performing at a high level. The information gathered in the process of building PDPs of employees can be collated and used to develop the workplace skills plan of the organization. Now we move on to the next topic. I will now give you a high-level overview of a PDP. The process starts with understanding the long-term goals and aspirations of the organization and the employee. This can be best explained through an example. Let's assume that I would like to train as a barista, and my long-term vision is to own my own coffee shop. My long-term goal and aspiration would be to own a coffee shop. This goal or aspiration needs to be broken down to short-term goals and aspirations. In this example, how to learn the skills of the barista trade and how to be able to obtain the required entrepreneurial skills to be able to run my coffee shop. The required skills, learning and experience that I need will become the PDP actions that I need to take in my journey to achieve my goals and aspirations. The PDP will become the living document that will facilitate and manage my learning process to ensure that I have the right skills to be able to open my coffee shop in a few years. The same principles can be applied by you in your work environment. Remember that as part of this learning process, you should agree on your key performance areas, also called KPAs, and key performance indicators, also called KPIs, with your manager and ensure that these are included in your performance agreement. In this video, I have, where applicable, referred to the relevant local government legislation. Please refer to the separate video on the legislation if you require further information. The link will be put in the description below. Our experience has highlighted several items to be considered as guidance when building a PDP. These include the following. Every employee must have a formal documented PDP. If an employee is employed for a period of more than 3 months, they must have a PDP. The PDP development process is an individually tailored process and must start with the understanding of the employee's career aspirations and job requirements. It is very important that when building the PDP, it is linked to realistic career expectations. If this is not done, it can lead to the creation of an unrealistic expectation of the side of the employee. To take the barista example one step further, it would not be realistic to have an expectation that I would like to become a qualified engineer while working at a coffee shop. It is therefore very important to determine and develop the employee's development gap. For example, what are the specific skills and expertise that is required from me to effectively deliver on my current job KPAs and KPIs. The development of the specific skills required are added to the PDP using smart learning actions. The development of any further specific learning needs are added to the PDP using smart learning actions. Where required, specific exposure to new areas of work are added to the PDP using smart actions. To make a PDP a practical and living document, it requires certain information. The information that should be included in a PDP include details on the career aspirations of the employee, the specific skills and behaviors of the employee that require development, the smart actions that are planned to achieve the employee's required learning, the specific deadlines for the agreed upon learning interventions, the planned meetings where the learnings will be reviewed, feedback given, and next steps will be taken. An employee should clearly understand the implications and consequences to him or herself, should the required learning not take place by the agreed upon deadlines. I will now explain the process of building and managing a PDP. The process starts with the building of a PDP, as explained in the previous slides. The PDP is a living document and is the responsibility of the employee. As individuals, we are responsible for our own learning, and we should invest the necessary time and commitment in achieving our career aspirations and goals. Using our PDP as the guiding document, we should revisit and update our development progress on an ongoing basis. Best practice organizations will carry out quarterly assessments, during which time the employer will review performance and status on the PDP actions. After the evaluation, which includes a meeting with the employee, the PDP will be amended, if required, with mutual consent. The employee will then continue to action the smart development actions in their PDP through the learning opportunities provided. This process will repeat itself through Quarter 2, Quarter 3, and Quarter 4. During each of these quarters, the PDP will be updated and amended based on each employee's individual circumstances. As part of the PDP process, the organization must implement monitoring and reporting processes to ensure that the PDP is effectively used as a learning and development tool. In summary, the process needs to address the employee's individual development needs for their current job, as well as ways in which they can strengthen their current skills. The process should include exposure to new areas of work, which are linked to realistic career aspirations. A written record must be kept of all interactions, updates, and amendments to the PDP. Let us now take a look in more detail at the performance evaluations and assessments the organization should carry out on a quarterly basis. Usually the assessment and evaluations are carried out using a rating scale of 1 to 5. At municipalities in South Africa, this is guided by Section 52 of the Municipal Systems Act 32 of 2000. For the purposes of this video, we are the requirements of the section in our presentation. If the rating is more than or equal to 3, the developmental progress gets updated and any amendments documented on the PDP. If the performance rating is anything less than 3, there are any of 4 possible outcomes. The first outcome is the scenario where no change is required to the PDP. This usually occurs when the employee meets all the development deadlines and there is no need to take any further action. The employee will then be assessed again in the next quarter. The second outcome is where a change is required to the PDP. This usually occurs when the employee does not meet all the development deadlines, or when there is a change in the developmental needs that need to be incorporated in the PDP. The manager and the employee will meet and amend the PDP as required. The employee will then be assessed again in the next quarter. The third outcome is where it has become clear that the employee is not suitable for the job for which he or she has been employed. The manager and the employee will meet, with the assistance of the HR team, and agree on an alternative job that is better suited for the employee's current skill set. Once agreement is reached on the new job, the PDP will be updated and amended to reflect the new job. The employee will then be assessed again in the next quarter. The fourth outcome is where it has become clear that the employee is not capable of performing the job for which he or she has been employed. The manager and the employee will meet, with the assistance of the HR team, and follow the provisions of the Labour Relations Act, with extreme circumstances leading to the dismissal of the employee owing to incapacity. From a practical perspective, any combination of the 4 outcomes are possible. The legislation requires that any employee that receives a performance rating below 3 in terms of the 5-point rating scale must be assisted in developing his or her competencies through training, coaching, mentoring, and supervision using a PDP. I have spoken much about the creation of learning opportunities that need to be included in a PDP. These learning opportunities are the more formal, structured learning programs and can include structured learning programs such as learnerships, apprenticeships, technicians in training programs, and graduates in training programs. Structured on-the-job learning and development that may include professional coaching of employees with the use of internal or external coaches. The use of external coaches may not always be possible due to the cost considerations. The organization should then consider sourcing the skills from within the coaching of employees through supervisors in the organization. This is very effective if an employee needs to learn a skill that is currently displayed by a supervisor in the organization. The learning in this instance will be very specific to the operational processes required within the organization. Mentoring of an employee by a specific colleague to enable him or her to master specific technical, professional, or specialist skills. One of the most effective ways of achieving this is to pair the employee with the required expert for a specific period of time. Another way which learning opportunity can be created is by finding creative ways to allocate work to employees to accelerate learning. The most effective ways of achieving this is to allocate employees to a specific project, second employees to another department so that he or she can get exposure to the required work process and skills, increase the responsibilities of an employee. In this way, an expectation is created of the required learning. Another very effective way of creating learning opportunity is to rotate employees within a department so that they are exposed to the full range of activities that are required to ensure the smooth running of operations within the department. Lastly, job shadowing could create the opportunities that would enable the employee to understand the more complex and challenging roles required from a job in a structured and secure manner. These are all examples of learning opportunities that can be provided. Together with the HR function of the organization, it is possible to create innovative and creative learning opportunities of the employees. Using an Action Assist PDP. Log in to the Action Assist database using your login credentials. This is from the perspective of the manager who is adding a learning action to the PDP of an employee. Once logged in, the PDP Assist module will show on the dashboard. On the right, there will be a button for a new task. Select the button and wait for the page to load. This will bring you to a page with many specifications for the new task. Assign the task to the necessary user. We will use the Mandla official. The topic will be knowledge, as it is what the whole task is about. Normal priority. This can be changed depending on the priority of the task. The status will be a new task. The deadline will be the 20th of July 2020. The skill required will be to attend a course on how to make a cappuccino. The outcome expected is that the user will have the skill to make a cappuccino. One can select the name of the manager and the date of entry, which will be today's date. The mode of delivery is training. The suggested training will be to attend a half-day course. The suggested time frame is 1 week. The work opportunity created to practice skill or development is to work with the head barista and assist with making cappuccinos and other coffees. One can choose a support person, and the competency will be service delivery. There is also the option to attach a file, and then once satisfied, submit the task. Once the task is created, log out. I will now show you how an employee updates a learning action that was assigned to their PDP. Log in using your Action Assist credentials as a user. Once logged in, the dashboard should display and there will be the option to update the task. Click on Update. This will bring you to an area where one can update the task. The update description is that I attended the barista course and have attached the document register. The user then selects the Choose File button and attaches the file. The new status is completed and the completion is 100%. Select the date of activity and state what you have learnt. We will say, I can make cappuccinos now. State the consequences, if any, and confirm the completion of the learning event. Save the update and log out. We are now going to take a look at the success factors defining a meaningful PDP. These include: employees should spend enough time building their PDP, as it forms such an important part of them achieving their individual and organizational goals and aspirations. It is therefore very important that the employees, supervisors, and managers also provide the suitable level of guidance and support. The PDP must be prepared and managed using the SMART principles, which stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. A PDP is a living document which must be updated regularly by the employee for constant improvement. The employee is responsible for their own learning and must take ownership of this process. Finally, I would like to share with you what the benefits of a PDP is. The benefits of a PDP include the self-awareness, which gives the employee a sense of what goals need to be achieved and the capabilities that are required to complete the tasks at hand. Improved focus, which gives the employee a platform from which to hone in on certain skills that need development. Goals and direction, which gives the employee a sense of the direction where they want to end up. Motivation, which gives the employee a form of motivation as it tracks their development progress and allows them to update and amend their goals, and in doing so, to stay motivated. Thank you for watching this video. I trust that it has provided you with a better understanding of the use of PDPs and how the Action Assist PDP can assist you in managing your learning and development actions. For more information on ActionIT Pty Limited or the Action Assist PDP module of our performance management system, please visit our website or contact us on marketing@actionassist.co.za.